Hi, and we are now semi-live. Hi, I'm Kara858, and we're bringing you Rivenwood Academy Season 2, episode 9, right? I think it's episode 9. So here in the Cookout, we always love to give love and support to different individuals in the community. Like to shout out different channels out there so you can take a look at their content and support them on their endeavors. And as always, we love to give a huge shout out for is the Bear Pen. The Bear Pen, of course, is run by Adrian B, which has multiple different channels out there, multiple different content out there. You have Bloodway the Bayou, which is a Vampire the Masquerade campaign. They're starting a D&D campaign, and they've been doing quite a few one shots. So definitely a few of us here listed in this game is actually featuring in some of their content that's coming out. So if you can, definitely go ahead and give them a follow on both Twitch as well as YouTube. That is The Bear Pen, ending with an H. A second, even though we're no longer doing Twitch anymore, we still would love to give a huge shout out to Hunter's Entertainment. Hunter's Entertainment is a variety TTRPG channel that features a hybrid of both horror as well as sci-fi content. You'll see well-known individuals such as Melee Damage, Michelle Neung, Markia Bacardi, and quite a few well-known names. And they was regularly sending us raids back when we were doing it on Twitch specific. I think it always was giving us support. So if you can, definitely go ahead and head over to their channel and support them on their endeavors. And last but certainly not least, we wanted to give a huge shout out for is a good friend of ours. Her name is the Brandy Rose, also known as Cutie Patootie. She's just recently been started getting in on Twitch. She's on our show, Lords of Faerun. She's a fantastic individual, and just recently, she just hit affiliate on Twitch. So if you can, definitely go ahead and head over to her Twitch channel, give her support, and support her on her endeavors. So those are the shout outs that we have for today. In terms of announcements, of course, as you can see, Rivenwood Academy now for YouTube specific, we of course have our campaigns coming out, such as Lords of Faerun, Boss Beyond Time, Gods of Color, which will be coming out in the near future, as well as a few other new projects coming along the line, which, like I said, if you want to keep an eye out for all of our content, make sure to follow us on our Twitter at The Cookout TTRPG. I'll say that's all of the announcements that we have for now. So we're just going to jump right in and bring you our next intro video for Rivenwood.
Micah. Ardris. Meaty. Otis. Behold the spellbinding abilities of Rivenwood Academy.
All right, and we are back. So with that said, Aaron, take it away.
All right, I am so excited. I'm so hyped. It's been a minute. It's been a while since the last time we got to play. So a brief little recap of kind of where we ended off. In the capital city of Vabana in the Gorgon Empire, there was a little bit of excitement as our party first met with Honinko, a person that they thought perhaps was dead, and were introduced to the idea that maybe Micah had another name. After some brief discussion, they said, hey, we'll meet you at breakfast this morning, but the next breakfast was interrupted by a sudden intrusion of a whole bunch of very beefy palace guards. Ardris was taken prisoner while the rest bamfed out or fell strategically out of a window. Lots of people were killed by a massive fireball that then obliterated the entire tavern. But our party fled. The majority of the party heading north. Kellen got a bit of a surprise gift after someone bumped into him that contained a disguise kit and a map, sort of, a scribbled hand-drawn map, leading them towards a halved tree near the seal of Thymos. Ardris managed to wriggle his way free, injuring himself quite badly several times, used his noble heritage in order to get one of the random peasants to free him, and eventually was able to fly away and made it almost to where the party was, up on the rooftop, before getting surprised by the Emperor himself. There were some tense discussions. Kellen tried to start several fights. Eventually, the entire party was taken towards the street with Micah and Otis hidden, but the rest was seemingly giving themselves up. And then the alarms rang all throughout the city, on the watchtowers, on the walls surrounding it. The bells were clanging, and for good reason, as a gold dragon descended from the sky, scooped up our party, seemingly very pissed off about it, and ended up leaving a lot of fire in her wake. Traveling the fastest perhaps the party's ever traveled, they flew via our friendly dragon in air all the way to where that halved tree was, and met Boom. And were maybe surprised, maybe not surprised, as the dragon transformed into the familiar figure of Chancellor Rosani. So we stopped kind of there. There was a little bit of discussion back and forth, but we haven't gotten into the main talk about what's going on. So we're going to kind of pick it up there. Most of you have found your way back. I know Ardris and Otis kind of took a few moments themselves, but we're going to reconvene kind of mid-discussion with Loom supporting Chancellor Rosani as they're both kind of sitting with their back to the halved tree. Chancellor Rosani is fighting to stay conscious, but is very intently trying to follow the conversation as Loom looks to you, Kellen, and says, okay, one more time. What?
So, we went to the teleportation circle as we were instructed by the Vice Chancellor, who, by the way, is on my very extremely suspicious list now. And he ushered us to ensure that we would be the first group to evacuate through the portal. I think it was the one on the left side. I'm asking that a bit out of character too. Is that correct?
You see Loom kind of nods his head as you're saying this, because he was there for the evacuation. And it's like, yes, I remember you got on the portal, it exploded. That was kind of the last part I saw of you.
Right, so we'll skip ahead a little bit to how terrifying and horrible that was.
You also know that Otis
sort of get the gist.
The portal was altered, so if you wanted to mention that, he told you.
Oh yeah, the portal was altered, yeah.
Yeah.
The
portal had something with it.
Yeah, so the portal had been altered. I'm guessing, Otis figured that out. He also noticed that the Chancellor wasn't around at the time, but we found her now, so that's good. You probably guessed that the portal had been altered, but it looks like it had been chipped, I think Otis said, in a very minor way, so it's probably pretty inconspicuous until we got, kind of up close and personal with it. And by then, honestly, I'm not sure what we would have done, even if we had been quicker to react. So then we ended up in this place, right? Where we were like, okay, this is bad. What's the worst that could happen now? Well, it turns out that the worst thing that could happen then is that I was pretty angry. So I kicked a tree, which I've never had a tree fight back against me before. I mean, this is maybe something that I've kicked like a dozen odd times. Well, it turns out some of them have body inside of them.
Very creepy little bodies that were crawling off of it.
And
well, while you're saying this, Loom kind of lifts up his broken arm and is like, I think I met a friend of your tree, if not the same one.
I really hope you met the same one, because the idea that there's just a bunch of these out there scattering the landscape is horrifying to me. But anyway, so we dealt with that one a little bit, and by that I don't mean killed it. I mean that we ran away
Good.
about as quickly as I could, including like flying and covering for each other. And actually, it's probably one of the most organized that we've ever been. So apparently we do like decently well in pressure situations. That I guess is at least good, but I digress. So we got out of there. We came to this city, right? That's by one of these first portal marking things. And he'll show the map at this point.
First portal. Sorry, what do you mean by portal markings?
That's like a whole other story. So let me finish this one really quick. We'll do like the accelerated version and then we'll come back to that. So we met these like keeper people. They seemed like relatively narrow in their expertise, but really good inside that narrow field of view. We went to the city. There was a celebration. We weren't in the mood to celebrate because that, sucky time recently and all. So we went to bed, met part of the whole other story, and then did a couple things there, decided that we needed to leave to move on, to continue our journey and catch up with Argis's father and the other students. Found some crazy, vicious animal things that attacked us. The Path Keepers helped us fight them back. Then we left and came here and met with Honinko, who seemed really distraught, offered to help them out. They said, you can't, basically. Disagree, because we've been through a lot, but to each their own. So we set up a meeting to talk to them more. That meeting came and got attacked. Honinko, currently number 2 on the pretty suspicious list. And then after that, we got out of there, except for Ardris, who valiantly stayed to defend us and himself. And apparently, I didn't find out this out till later, but exploded a building. Pretty cool. A little much, I think, but pretty cool. And then we got trapped in an alleyway, and they kept trying to manhandle us, which was really, really bothering me at the time because the guard had already upset Micah earlier for manhandling them. I mean, they don't like to be touched without permission, so I was mad. And then those guards were like, you need to come with us, and then drag in and then leave, and then now it's now. Okay. The portal book. So apparently there's this thing called the Strife that I don't fully understand, but seems like it's a pretty bad deal. From what we can tell, there are a bunch of people who worked together to stop this long ago and create all of these like seal things like that one. Well, we had found the first one or the last one. I'm not super clear on it. It's a little muddy, but either the first one or the last one at school, and kind of stumbled into the whole thing. We found out that they can be charged with magical energy, and that seems to be what causes the seals to function. But I guess since no magic is a perfect art, that they weaken over time. So we charged that one up a little bit. Now we're by the second one, and he kind of points vaguely into the distance of where the second seal marking seemed to be. And I think we should probably charge that one up a little bit too. But last time we ran into one of these, it was protected by a bunch of demons, maybe? Something like that. And we had to clear those out in order to charge up the seal. All of this information comes to us from a trusted source that is a close friend of mine named Jorhan. You might remember when he came to the academy and people were like, hey, non-students can't just like walk in here, and that was all like crazy and stuff.
I'm just gonna remind you that right now you are Jorhan.
I forgot about that.
I think somebody forgot that they were just as John.
Yep.
No, I didn't.
I did. I definitely did.
So Loom kind of takes a moment to digest just the deluge of information that you just kind of like fire hosed in his face. Like, that was a lot. And he's just kind of like, I have questions. Look, I'm honestly not sure where to start. Maybe you found a magic thing while you were at school and fought some demons in order to put magic into it. Is that one correct? Because it feels like it absolutely cannot be correct.
So we did find it at school when we were out on a mission to collect some herbs, a very important function of the academy that we were proud to fulfill for the people that might need these herbs.
Listen. I am the one who taught you the skill of oration. We can skip that part.
Kellen, I don't think that you can pull the fast.
Fair enough. So originally, we went to go explore. And originally, our goal wasn't to kill the demons to charge this thing up.
Sure.
Originally, our goal was, oh goodness, we've found demons in this thing that we decided to explore, which, by the way, Kellen told us not to, but I'm sort of glad we did in the end times and all. It was more like survive the demon attack, and then we did that, and then I wanted to experiment with the arcane circle sigil thingy, and everyone else was like, oh my god, Kellen, don't do that. And then I'm glad that I did, because as it turns out, that was charging the seal up with magical energy, which probably would have been good for the academy had the academy not exploded, but will at least be good for the villages near the academy because their seal has a little more power now.
I also like two of their eyeballs. That was cool.
And then when you returned to school, you told everyone about what had happened.
No. No, he didn't.
No. But...
Okay. Excellent. I'm glad to know it's not just me being out of the loop. It is gross negligence on your part. Wonderful.
For example, without having met the body tree, right? Oh, man, you taught me everything I know. This is probably not going to work. But without the body tree, if I was just like, hey, Professor Loom, we found a body tree, would you really have been like, oh, sure, Kellen, you found a body tree. I totally believe that.
Kellen? Or Johan? At this point, Chancellor Rosati, who's just been like, kind of doing the thing where she's like just kind of blinking and leaning in, trying to make it all sense. She's like, I have a question. Who are you?
I'm Kellen. And then he kind of does the like exasperated like hair grab and then sees the purple powder on his hand and goes, Kellen, with like oh crap.
Very excellent disguise. You should be very proud. What were you saying? Yes, okay. All right. One, Helen, I do believe you when you tell me things.
In my defense, I didn't know that it was an apocalypse seal until later.
Which kind of seal did you think it was? The kind that was magical and able to kill people who stumbled into it? Because that does feel relevant, especially if, I don't know, I was a professor at an academy that was sending students to a place on what I thought were milk runs.
It was like in a cave that nobody would go to otherwise.
Professor Loom, I have confidence in my fellow students. I'm sure this is totally my fault and that they all meant to tell you before the school exploded. So it's probably only gross negligence on my part, if you really think about it.
Well, maybe if you weren't kissing Pyrea.
Dagger's look.
You see, Lou is just like, okay, yeah, when there is a school to be had, then we will discuss behavior at school. Until that point, like, but that whole conversation just kind of on hold.
Yes, but if you think about it, when you consider that, when there's a school again, just remember that the discovery of apocalypse seals and how to charge them kind of balances out the gross negligence if you really try to weigh it.
And I was sure, Mr. Blitz, that there's absolutely no connection between your apocalypse seal and the fact that the school did blow up.
I don't think so, based on our conversation with Honinko. That seems like the shadow organization that we haven't really gotten to talking about, because, again, it's a whole other story.
Okay.
You're going to want that story now, aren't you?
Sorry, does Kellen believe what he just said?
The shadow organization thing?
Does he believe that the seal at Phobos and the school blowing up is not connected?
He believes it, yeah.
Okay, go and roll persuasion for me.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Micah thinks the same thing. They think it was the kingdom that blows up their school.
Kellen's smarter than Mary. She believes him.
Otis is just trying to survive.
Head empty, survival thoughts only.
Yep. The bare necessities.
And I gotta say, the vibe in this session is just is very hard to stay in character.
Delicious.
So, Alfred Loom is a great teacher and has taught Kellen very well. Unfortunately, he has only 10 charisma and no proficiency in persuasion. So that is a 6.
This is why we let Mary talk.
Oh, Zach. Not today, dog. Not today.
Chancellor Rosati believes you.
Chancellor Rosani is about to fall over.
That is true. Chancellor Rosati just like, chill. I'm certain that makes sense, yes. What was the next bit? And Liam's just like, okay. For another time, let's go to part number 2, whatever it is.
The shadow organization or the apocalypse seals?
You know, honestly, they feel related just on a name basis, but I'm going to go with chronologically what happened first.
Chronologically, then you have to talk about
Chronologically, the first thing that happened was that students started going missing from the academy, and we think that they're either becoming cultists or being kidnapped by cultists, or, get this, potentially a combination of the two.
Got it. Let's go.
Because if I was a cultist, the easiest way to kidnap students would be to have my new recruits that are also students do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because having met Chancellor Rosani, like the real one, and they don't even know that part.
I'm the real one.
Yes, I'm thinking that cultists probably weren't like, oh my god, let's go directly to the academy and kidnap people. Because, I mean, they'd just be dumb.
Yes.
I'd like to point out at some point, even Mary's like, Kellen?
Okay, so Loom is not surprised by the discussion about students who've gone missing. Rosani seems actually kind of surprised about what's being talked about right now. Again, super injured, very confused. Could be something that's like head trauma related or whatever, life force loss related, whatever. But like something she's very confused about or concerned about. But Loom's like, yes, okay, students are missing, and you think that it's a cult or something. And maybe recruitment, maybe just kidnapping, you're not really sure.
I have it on good authority that it's likely from my friend Jorhan.
You have it on good authority that what?
Kellen, I think you need to explain.
The cult thing is likely. Okay, so remember the conversation about the corpse
actually,
when I tell you this, okay?
Well, before you tell me this, I would like to tell you a modified, brief story. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I'm a professor. I'm looking for missing students. I have a spell. It tells me a general location, but something is very wrong with this spell. It's not targeting the student that I'm aiming at. I don't know why that is, but I've got a general location. Let me try to go there. I find someone who can take me there via magical means. I appear in a wooded place with a tree that tries to kill me. It's got these little sacks on it, kind of bodies inside of it. I very nearly die. Kind of gestures to the broken arm and the less swollen shut eye thanks to the healing that you gave earlier. And is like, and then right before I almost die, I run into some people who assist me in fighting them. I do believe some of them called themselves Pathkeepers, but there's one who is not a Pathkeeper. Well, I did mention that we had a mutual friend.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, Micah, how can I help you?
Are you a dragon?
Sorry, you are talking to Loom right now?
Oh. Are you a dragon too?
Oh, no. Do you think I'm draconic? A little bit regal, yes? No, I'm not a dragon.
Oh.
Be cool if I was, but I'm not.
Okay, sorry.
No, I appreciate the question. Curiosity is, in fact, the foundation of all knowledge. Now, so I met a mutual friend of ours. Well, here's the thing. I say mutual friend. I did not know him, but he knew me quite well. Disturbingly well, one could say. And he gave me a tip as to where I should go, and also a note, a little package. You understand where I'm getting from here?
So here's the thing. I'd like to explain more, but let's just say that someone who in the future will be a highly talented and well-accomplished magician decided to have like a big ritual to go back in time. Talking about that in specificity has unknown implications that I'd rather dance around than confront directly. So
it's a big ask, Mr. Blitz. It's a very big ask. Rosani's completely lost. Rosani's looking between you two and is like, wait. You are planning to grow up? No. Someone is, there's time. And a tree? And she's completely lost it. She is, like, everything you've said, like, in kind of flowery language she has not computed. But, I mean, Loom has followed you. He understands what you're trying to hint at, but you're asking him to not ask questions, and that is a difficult thing to do.
You can ask questions, but so we're clear, that is my friend Jorhan.
But you're Kellen.
I'm Kellen. That's Jorhan, my friend, whom you met.
So Rosati turns to Luna and is like, hey, look, Kellen has a friend, Joran. That's nice. And Luna's like, yes. Yes, it is quite nice. Quite nice indeed. I am,
You need some milk.
I am willing to table further specific inquiries until a later date, provided sufficient information is provided in the more general topic.
Yes. For now, I'll just say, let's consider what might happen if all the seals were to fail. We all might get an idea to do something drastic to prevent said apocalypse. Like visiting old friends.
I see. Interesting.
All right.
So what does happen when the seals fail? Also, how many and where are they, and what do we need to do to fix it?
I don't remember it, but I believe we have like a little poem that I could hopefully have somewhere, but he would recite this poem at this point.
I don't know that you have ever even seen them. Have you?
Oh, it's only Argus that has.
I think only Argus has
So he would say, from my understanding, apocalypse is a pretty good term. I'm guessing that the demons that we fought are probably nothing in comparison to what we would need to fight if all the seals failed. And it seems like when the seals start to fail, they have effects. Like, we kind of glossed over it a little bit, but when we were helping out the Path Keepers, that village went, I guess, mad. I don't have another word for it. I mean, they were all, like, angry. A couple of them, like, tried to fight some bears and lost. Increase their combat ability.
I forgot that.
But it did make them angry.
Stop talking.
That is unfortunate. I of course believe you, Kellen. And then he turns to Ardris. Did you have anything you wanted to add? I know that you and Mr. Blitz kind of look at things from different angles.
I don't believe Argus is with the group at the moment.
Yeah, Argus is at the river, right?
Yeah, no, he's out by the river crying.
I mean, if you want to still be at the river, you can be, or you can have been back. Because, like, there was kind of some stuff that happened before. Then never mind. He doesn't turn to Mr. Aladdin at all. He stops and kind of takes stock of the rest of the group. Mary, when he looks at you, what does he see?
She looks tired as hell. Just not happy.
Miss Baby.
Mm-hmm.
How's it going? Right. When he looks at Micah, what does he see?
So Micah has been first just happily staring at their mother the entire time. Like, again, a euphoria of happiness that's very rarely been seen on their face. There's happiness there. But there also, when Kellen starts to talk, there's a bit of confusion, primarily because I don't think Jorhan really explained to Micah the complications of affecting time too much. So they're kind of confused why Kellen is not explaining the full details, but is not saying anything because they're letting Kellen do all the talk. So, but you notice like Kelly would say some things, and Micah's eyebrow will raise like the people's eyebrow, like there's more information there. But they're not sure why they're withholding information, but there's definitely hints of confusion during the conversation.
It is interesting because current Kellen is much stricter and less laissez-faire about how he discusses said thing than okay. So
Yep. I love it. It definitely has nothing to do with okay being in my brain. When said Otis, what does he say?
Oh, Otis is still off by himself. Like he wouldn't come back.
All right, so he looks at the three of you and is like, okay, now wait, where is Mr. Otis and Mr. Aladrin? I did not just lose 2 children, and he like forces his way. You can tell it's quite painful for him, but he forces himself to his feet and begins to like make a loop. It is it's still daylight right now, but it's pushing into like evening, just because you've sat around and talked for a bit at the flying time, etc., etc. So he's trying to find everyone for before dusk hits.
Miri would have followed after. Just be like, I know your arm.
So I would try to sneakily like poke him in the back and use a 3rd level cure wounds for 11.
Roll sleight of hand. Let you practice some of those rogue skills.
Can I argue stealth?
You know, actually, I will say yes, because you're doing it specifically at his back. I'll say you can try and say you're trying to get to him stealthily versus confuse him what he's saying. So yeah, I'll let you do stealth.
Excellent, because that's a difference of +6 net. So, 17.
17. You feel super smooth and stealthy, and you just barely graze his back. And he doesn't give any indication like that anything happens until he's about 20 feet away, and he kind of turns and gives you a little nod. Keeps going. I rolled really high for him, sorry.
Oh no.
It's just the first time he asked permission, and this time after seeing how he was walking, he was just like,
Doink? Yeah. Yeah. No one else noticed besides him.
Oh, and real quick, because I haven't described this before, when Helen casts Cure Wounds, it looks like a little sewing needle bouncing back and forth over whatever wound is being healed. It's like,
that's
so
cool.
That's cute.
So cool. Oh, that's so cool. You, for those of you who did not see Kellen do that, how many points was it that he healed?
13.
Right? Oh.
13. I
misspoke earlier. My bonus made it 13.
Oh, good. You see him kind of like shaking out his arm a little bit. Seems like he can actually move it some out of the sling that
Mary
it was
looks
in.
at him horrified because that arm was just broken.
You're right, Miss Mary.
He just broke his arm.
It was flesh wound. We're fine. No. It's been a sling like hours. We're good.
Brothers work.
That's how bones work.
I will be a little bit ginger with it, but no, it's moving a bit. And he's kind of got it down by his side, just kind of like shaking out a little bit. How far did the both of y'all go?
Enough to be, I'd say for Otis, enough so that he's within earshot and can hear if something happens, as far as he's concerned. But
How
far
much you
away
like
enough.
60 feet, but how, like, do you want to be like behind something? Like, are you hiding yourself away?
Oh, he'd
Or did
absolutely
you
be hiding himself away.
Okay, what about Arduous? I know you went.
He's just
somewhere.
far enough to wash his hands and clean his hands.
Right.
So not very far.
There is not a stream anywhere, but I mean, you have water.
So some
skin
trees and branches.
Okay. I assume then that you headed in different directions?
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Otis, go ahead and make me a stealth check since you're sort of hiding yourself away. Or just make yours survival. And I'm going to
Just
roll.
a survival check.
Actually, Miri, I'm going to let you roll with advantage for perception to spot both of them. So it's like contested against what they rolled.
Gotcha. Okay.
16.
Nice.
What happened to my other D20 in here?
It's good. I'm a talented person.
15 for Otis.
All right, so the DC to beat is 16 and 15 respectively.
18.
Let's go.
Nice. It doesn't take as long as it might have otherwise, but you scoop Ardris first because he's not hidden. You kind of spot him at a distance, and Loom's like, Mr. Elijah, if you wouldn't mind, it's getting a bit dark.
Boss. And you'll move over.
You're all right.
There are many ways to describe what I am. I would not choose all right. Is there something that you need, Professor?
Nothing pressing. Go get some rest. And then as Ardris walks away, you manage to get around the stone and the tiny bit of shrubbery that was there because it's very, very sparse in this area to spot Otis chilling. Oh, Mr. Otis.
He just slowly turned to look at Alfred Gloom. If Nazareth is with him, he's petting her / cradling her bird style. So,
Mary, would you mind giving us a moment?
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah.
Thank you. And he'll come over and kind of sit. He'll crouch down a little ways away from you. He winces just a little bit as he goes down, but it's not too bad. And he gives you kind of a look. Otis, you all right?
Otis would shake his head no. He's being honest with himself, finally.
All right. Are you injured physically?
Otis would shake his head yes.
Can you come back to camp?
Otis slowly nods yes, and he starts to get up.
All right. We will treat your injuries, and then when you're ready to talk, I'm here. No one will
Otis
touch
nods.
you. Not while I'm around.
Oh, Nazareth can feel free to say something that she wants.
I don't think Nazareth's going to say anything.
Picked it up from Otis. That's funny.
Yeah. And so a very quiet Otis and a very quiet Nazareth begin making their way back to camp. In the time it's taken to get you, the both of you, I imagine that some of you may have started actually setting up a camp.
We never did we ever set up a camp before? We've always had a place to stay, even when we were out of the
survival's the
forest.
highest.
When
The
you got
darkness in the woods.
through, I was gonna say, when you got through the woods out to the border, y'all slept on that
Oh yeah.
butte. But that's I think that's the only time y'all roughed it.
Okay, yeah, all right.
Helen says that we shouldn't build any sort of a fire.
That'll alert the presence.
Well, because they have the flyer captains in the
That's
area,
true.
So even if a tiny one, they'd be able to see.
Oh,
We'll
that's
say as the sun sets, it's getting quite cold. It got cold in Vavana. It's colder here, just by the virtue of the way the landscape works. I don't know if any of you have been in deserts, but they get quite cold at night. This is kind of like a desert.
Otis technically
We
has
need,
been in the desert because of the biome.
We need slightly more than that. Are we talking wintry desert temperatures or normal desert temperatures? Because I think a normal desert gets cold down to 40 or 50 degrees, which is very cold for a desert. but it could potentially be a lot worse.
It is not freezing, but it feels quite close. Like just kind of like ambient temperature feel wise. There's a bit of a breeze. So you don't think like it will endanger your life per se, but it is going to be quite unpleasant.
Have we been here long enough to take a short rest?
Well, did you take a short rest?
I don't know. I feel like we had a pretty long conversation with Loom. Does conversation count as a short rest?
Man, I'm so nice. I will say that.
I was washing my hands. I feel like that counts as a short rest. I mean,
yeah, I'm gonna count it as a short rest. I think you've been here long enough that you've gotten yourselves a short rest.
Then I will cast, using my arcane recovery, I will cast Private Sanctum for 24 hours.
All right. I know we used this just last game. Remind me how it works.
Sure. I create an area that can be as large as 100 feet on each side. It will last 24 hours or until I end it. And I can select up to a number of abilities, including sound doesn't pass through the barrier. The barrier is dark and foggy, preventing vision, including dark vision. Sensors created by divination can't pass inside of it or pass through it. Creatures in the area can't be targeted by divination. You can't. Nothing can teleport into or out of it, and planar travel is blocked inside.
How many of those can you choose, or is it all of them?
I'm picking all of them, but I can pick and choose. But in this case,
okay. You can choose to omit some of them. I understand. Do you make it 100 feet?
Yeah, large enough for everyone. Well, I feel like 100 feet would be good. Large enough for everyone, including the dragon, to be inside. If that's like comfortably, though, you know what I mean. Like you're making a whole 100 feet of it isn't necessary, but it's large enough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Rosani's currently in Rosani form, so comfortably you could all be in like, I don't know, 20 square feet.
Or I'm not good at math, so sure, it's large enough for everyone to be in, and for people to start a fire if they want to, and put bedrolls and things down.
Okay.
So once would there have been a lull in time, Micah would definitely be, essentially would pop the question, because it seems like, perhaps the professors may have some information behind this. And so Micah will look up towards the group, towards the two professors, and say, "Oh, I am Iwan, but they don't want me. Hey, why would they want to hurt me?"
Rosani is looking at you as you speak, and she takes both of her hands and just kind of like cradles your face in her hands, and she's like, "I don't know why anyone could ever not want you. I'm so proud of you." Loom doesn't have a clue what you're talking about. So he's just like,
"Yeah, I think they blew up the school because Nico, he was sit there by Urbana to watch over me, and they said he didn't do a good job. So she get trouble. I'm still confused. Yes, but I don't think Urbana likes it.
I say it's interesting a lot, but it is interesting, at least in me. It's when Rosani, Jen's Rosani has been very like kind of force of will keeping her attention on what is going on, trying to piece stuff together. When you start saying like a student was sent in order to spy on me personally for a foreign power, you see her eyes and her features sharpen, and you can see like behind the eyes, kind of in the iris, there's like this soft glow as her eyes narrow, and she looks quite angry for a moment before she kind of shakes her head and blinks away. It's like, I will find out what has happened, and I will make sure that they pay.
Hey. How can we get you to rest?
I should probably stay in this form for as long as I can. It's not easy to wake a sleeping dragon. So if I'm like this, then it will be maybe easier. And you watch as Loon kind of comes forward and whispers a little bit in her ear, and she kind of just waves him away. It's like, no, I've decided I will not be here.
And they'll kind of like, Harley places her arm around her shoulders and kind of like snuggle in next to her as she's down next.
Yeah, she immediately pulls you into a really tight hug. For as weak and as like loopy as she seems, like this is important enough that she is exerting the effort, and she doesn't let go. Like she just keeps holding you quite tightly.
Micah holds back really tight. Back.
I am so incredibly happy to have found you.
And they kind of like lay next to her.
Rosoni starts to, as she's kind of tightly gripping Micah, starts to kind of drift off as she's leaning against him in the tree. Loom organizes some food to make sure everyone's eaten. Make sure that Otis eats. Even gives a little bit of food for Nazareth. And then is kind of like, well, if we won't get them sleep, I will take watch. We'll be fine. And then in the morning, we can decide where to go from here. You've given me a lot to think about.
Be careful. I hope they're not following. That's the log of sentence. I hope they're not. Follow.
If they are, then I will. Well, one, they can't see us. This is an ingenious piece of work, Mr. Elijah. Well done. Well, at any rate, we'll make it morning.
Do you want me to go or watch? I'm good.
I think that I want you exactly where you are. You've all been through a lot. Please get some rest. Heal up. Take care of yourselves. Let me handle this. The wall to this magnificent phantom, whatever you called it, Phantom Manor?
Private Sanctum, right?
Private
Castle?
sanctum,
Whatever.
Sanctum.
Private,
a
private
box.
sanctum.
It's a box. It's a pretty box.
A nice cube. It is permeable, though, yeah? Like, he can walk out
Yeah.
in? Okay. You watch as he steps out. And that's all you can see, I guess, because you can't see through it. Everyone taking your rest?
Yes.
Yeah, Otis is going to rest as far away from Ardris as possible. within the bear.
It is
Audrey's.
unreasonably large space, so that shouldn't be too terribly.
100 feet from
Disadvantage.
side to side.
You gotta remember who Otis rolls with.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He ain't dying in no cold,
Mhm.
unless it's extreme cold.
All right.
I will say, Miri will go halfway between there.
Oh,
And
the saddest geometry ever.
it's real.
That is geometry.
That has to be the name of the episode.
Nazareth is
The saddest geometry. Yeah. It's a
Given
great-
that other people have expressed their opinions, and Rosani and Loom are both still pretty injured, he would try to stay pretty close to Micah, I think.
So I'm picturing a rhombus of people. I was
Oh,
gonna call you equidistant, but I think it'd be a rhombus.
Michael will look over towards Kelly and says, "You're right. Not nice."
I'm sorry, I didn't hear. You just like a little bit too quiet for me. You said,
Yeah, you were right. It wasn't nice.
I'd rather have been wrong, Micah, but you found your mom.
Yeah, but I'm scared. Because they did that. They're going to try and
You heard me talking to the Emperor's people, Micah. They've made a mistake. They just don't know it yet.
wait. Did we hurt them?
Did we hurt them?
Did we hurt?
Hmm.
They hurt Mom. And they hurt you. They hurt Arjun. They're Otis. They're dating, right?
And they're dangerous. We have other things to do, Micah. But it's a big burden, considering your age. But you need to think about how you want to treat your extended family in the future. It's, well, you know me and Ardris. We've read some of the histories. It only takes one person to topple a government if you decide that's what you want. There's more than one of us.
Okay.
But it's not my choice.
They not thinking about. Sorry, 1 second. Adjusting my gate. All right. They not thinking about the words that you stated. They're not. Well, they're familiar with history. I think they're a little familiar with. Has there been historical incidents or instances of government being toppled in our in this world?
Roll a history check.
Okay. Because I was in the class, but I don't recall.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, do you get advantage or did you just get a plus for that? For the class?
I got the plus. Yes, I got the plus. It was a plus. Plus my. It was a plus. There we go. Well, thank you for starting off strong. That was a natural 20.
Ooh. All right, so you know that when you took continental politics, that like there was a discussion of how long the peace had been, like since oh my gosh, 500 years of peace, blah 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 blah. But Loom's a very good professor, so like it wasn't just like the oh hey look kumbaya. It was also like isn't it interesting how Voltaire is technically considered an independent state, even though their Tamiel doesn't recognize it. Or, isn't it interesting that the Lanshan clans are so far away from the Elven kingdom of Theratania? Like, lots of little bits like that. And so I think you would know that although there has been continental-wide peace, that doesn't mean that there has been no intrigue or changes in governance within nations.
Okay.
You would also be really aware that, like, before that 500 years, it was a free-for-all. People were constantly rising and falling. There were new emperors and kings named, like, regularly. Regicide abound and wars. So, prior to that time, all over the place.
Okay. Thank you. In that case, Michael will nod and says, I could use history. And thank you, Callan.
Of course, Micah.
Just be careful, please.
I will be.
Just one question. Do you really think Nico was bad?
I don't think that Honinko is a bad person. I think that when a person's put in a situation where they're forced to do bad things over and over, it's really hard to claw your way back, even with freedom.
Oh. And you can literally see a light bulb just click in their head from that statement. And they nod and they look at you like a full like, you have explained quite a few things, but there's definitely a strong sense of understanding from that statement. And they nod and says, "No, I see. Well, there's nothing we can do for her, right?"
Not yet.
Okay.
But I did notice something interesting when we were interacting with Honinko.
What's that?
Did you notice that there seemed to be a bit of a sore spot when it came to you?
What way?
Well, it seemed like they were always like angry or flustered or like thrown off whenever you would come up, right? Like even so far as back at school.
I remember. Why?
The interesting part is, well, it's tough to be sure, but I never really got the sense that they were angry with you in particular. It was more around you, right? I wonder if it wasn't actually about you, it was about themselves and what they were doing as a spy. It feels like it could be a crack in the armor. If you want to save them in the future, it might be worth us thinking about how to utilize that to break through.
Okay. I'm not good with words. I'll need your help, please.
Maybe. But the most important thing that I learned from a semester with Alfred Loom is that sometimes it only takes one word if you choose the right one.
And you see their eyes just kind of like dart to the side as they're trying to cycle through their encyclopedia. What could that one word be?
Hippopotamus, no.
And I don't want to mess up the pronunciation, but Kellen gives them a moment to think, and then he says their other name. Island. Oninko's reaction to that was deep. Maybe that's the word. Think about it.
Okay. Thank you.
Of course.
And you see them like kind of like placing their index finger against their mouth as they're trying to expand upon it.
Alrighty, as you all bed down for your rest, most of you quite injured and sore, maybe tossing, turning a bit in this weird, darkened, shady cube as you try and find a comfortable spot. As you all head to bed and start to drift off. That's where we're going to take a break. You are all sleeping. It's not a very restful sleep, but it is sleep. Eerie.
Yeah.
You are having a lovely dream. What kind of dream are you having?
Probably something in the woods. Maybe there's some little actual rabbits with her.
Yeah. That's
making like daisy chains and.
Yeah. The rabbits are surrounding you. You're making little like flower crowns for the rabbits out of daisies and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's really adorable. And then one of the rabbits kind of hops around a little bit and looks at you. And as it looks at you, you hear in your voice, "It's really not fair." You hear it in your own voice. The rabbit is not like, it doesn't have like humanoid lips that are now moving or something, but it is kind of staring at you.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not fair. I would do a Mary voice, but I can't, as evidenced by the episode you weren't here. So we're just not even going to do that.
My favorite episode.
What?
Rabbit kind of hops around a little bit. And then you hear another voice in your head. This one's familiar. You hear Cravities. It says, "You're not wrong. It's not fair. But it could be exciting."
You're always saying that things are going to be exciting. I think this is quite fun here. She's like, make you look at another one.
It's still not fair. Again, it's your own voice. You know your own voice. And it doesn't sound like it's coming like like it doesn't sound like someone is speaking to you. It's just kind of there.
Are you playing tricks on me again?
I miss my family.
Yeah, Mary will put down that little flower crown she's working on to start looking at the little rabbits around her.
They kind of just hop around. You spend the rest of the dream kind of following people. Following rabbits, not people. Following rabbits, kind of like searching for the voice again. You don't hear it. You don't hear Gravity's again. But it's a little bit unsettling. Ardris, what are you dreaming about?
I just is reliving a memory of sword fighting training with his father when he was much younger.
You're running through like a series of forms that you've practiced many times over, and you can your father's standing in front of you, back straight, his eyes as piercing as always, as he guides you through it, correcting mistakes swiftly, but without any like rancor, just very firmly. And as you falter at one moment. You move to parry, you overswing, and as you do, you hear your own voice saying, "He never came. Why didn't he come for me? It's not fair. He's supposed to be there."
He has his reasons. We will find. It was all fine.
We're not fine. They didn't heal us. It's not fair.
The world is never fair. We need to be stronger.
Why do we always have to protect them? Who protects us?
It is our role to protect those who cannot defend themselves. It is why we are the nobility.
There's like a moment where your father in the dream looks at you and is like, "Pay attention," and goes to strike you again. What do you do?
He focuses back on his training and defending against the strike.
As you focus back on your father, the voice gets silent for a moment, and then you hear, just right at the end, "Wasn't it his duty to protect us too?" And then it goes silent. You go right back into your training routine. And you all awaken. Congratulations, you've made your long rest.
I'm casting mage armor immediately.
Thingsies.
Yeah, saves 3. We are not in safe territory, that's for sure.
Mary doesn't have that, so she's just
What
kind
do
of
y'all have in
terrified.
common to bring that about? What do they have in common to bring that about?
What do you mean? The not being fair part? Or are you talking about?
Well, the two of them having that dream.
That's a good question. I don't know.
They're not sleeping in the same spot. Like they both had completely different. Okay, well, that's out of character. That can wait.
Loom steps back through your shadowy thing. How long does it last?
4 hours, or until I end it.
I'm sorry, how many hours?
24.
24.
Yeah, so he steps back through and he's like, "Well, hope everyone had a very good sleep. I know that I did not, but it was uneventful. So, congrats, up and at him. Somebody else is making breakfast. I am going to," and he just kind of pops down next to where Rosani is. "I think I'm just gonna sit here for a while. I'm just resting my eyes." Got his eyes closed. You don't think he's asleep, but I'm not sure.
From our perspective, how much better does he look? Because the whole hit point system is a little wonky for.
From your perspective, his condition has changed nil because he spent all night on watch and did not take a rest.
Excellent. Excellent.
So Micah's going to bring over a blanket and just slide it over.
Without opening his eyes, he's like, "Yes, thank you, Micah. Honestly, it's much warmer in here, and I'm not sure why. It's quite cold outside."
One should stay inside the area.
Are you really sleeping?
No.
Are you going to?
No. It's just you can only have your eyes open for any kind of like blearily opens eyes. You can only have your eyes open for so long before it feels like you've just like washed them in sand or something. Just resting.
You didn't throw sand in your eyes, did you?
No.
You know, Miri, I was thinking the exact same thing.
Why are you? You know, it's not good to put sand in your eye.
He just kind of looks back and forth between the two of you. Right. Well then,
Elena uses prestidigitation to cast like a little bit of sparks from his hand, while Loon looks at him like,
very impressive, Mr. Blitz.
Sorry, just
I was hoping you would bring a little bit. I was hoping you would bring a little bit more ha into your.
No, you gotta do it like this, Kellen, and then Miri's gonna do the same thing.
Yes, the students of Rivenwood Academy are by far the best
You know,
in the continents.
I feel like you're not appreciating this enough. I mean, before they went mad, the peasants were loving our street magic routine.
Before they went mad.
I will endeavor to be more enthusiastic in the future. For sure.
I mean, the villagers, peasants. I'm not sure where that came from. That was a little bit cocky. I meant the villagers.
It's a little bit classist, if you ask me.
It was.
Luke just kind of like looks over your shoulder at Ardris briefly, looks right back at you. He's like, well, who's making breakfast? Because it's not me, and I am hungry.
Hey, Otis.
Slowly turns and looks at Kellen.
Do you feel like cooking up some breakfast?
Otis will just cast Good Berry and open his hand, and then there'll be 10 berries there.
No. Thank you. And
Wonderful.
he will take enough of them for everyone to eat except for Otis and start passing them out because it does not seem like Otis is in the mood to do so at the moment.
No.
Split up, how many people is that?
Wait, hold on.
10, and there's how many of us here?
Oh, Micah would have needed.
We make 5.
Micah doesn't need
Right,
anything.
6. Oh yeah, that's right. Minus Micah. Yeah, that's plenty. That's plenty.
But we have 5.
I'm
that we
asking
need,
if-
not including Otis.
I'm asking if we would have gotten doubles or not.
You can hold on to the Good Berry. They last.
No, yeah.
You have
'cause
Miri
Miri wants to hold on to it for Otis. That's why I'm asking.
Like Otis will.
Well, I said not including Otis. So like we would need 5, and then he would have 5 left in his hand.
Oh, okay. So say you're starving him. No.
No, he's the one.
No,
I'm saying how many.
No.
he took from
I
Otis.
understand.
What,
It was my
you trying to
misunderstanding.
feed him? That'd be something.
He just grabs all 10 of them. Like,
It's like
"Here,
fine.
Otis."
It's like
No.
If you want to take extras and have them on hand, you can do that, sir.
No, he only takes 5.
Spell slot.
Okay.
Very good. I would strongly suggest no one leave this barrier until we are ready to leave it for good.
Yeah. What's the plan? I mean, I guess we're all heading towards Tarantamio, you know?
Yes, but we need to take a brief detour into there, and then he'll point in the vague direction of the seal again.
Canon, do you see everybody here?
The apocalypse place.
Yes, the apocalypse seal. You see, the apocalypse place has a negative bias. I think an apocalypse seal is a positive thing.
Untold danger.
What?
Do you see what
are you
everybody looks like here right now? Though.
See, again, Untold Danger has this, like, twisty, mystique weirdness to it. We know the danger is probably demons. It's not untold, per se.
Idris, can you please? I don't know what he's saying.
You gotta watch Professor Loom, is what I'm saying. He's really crafty, and it's just this negative spin on what I'm hearing.
I mean, it's a valiant effort, Mr. Blitz. Absolutely. Good opportunity for slightly misguided propaganda. Absolutely.
Sorry, are you referring... Did you explain where did Apocalypse Seal come from?
The explanation of the strife seals. I mean, it's like, they're basically apocalypse seals.
The Apocalypse Seals need to be reinforced. That is true. I would prefer not to do so. I won't endanger you all anymore.
Well, we're literally right next to it. So it's like, if we don't do it, I mean... Who's going to? That's basically what I'm asking.
So be it.
Chancellor Azani kind of straightens up a little bit and turns first to Micah. Kind of holds out her hands to bring them in closer, and goes, Micah, you can stay. You don't have to do this. No one is asking you to do this. No one should ask you to do this.
No, I'm not asking. I'm just smart. And I'm pretty sure if the rest of us go down in there, I can't stop him.
Mr. Blitz, you can stay. This is a big burden to be on your shoulders. I'm not asking it of you.
Well, I know, but so here's what I'm struggling with right now. The only thing in the way of bad people is good people. So for the cultists to win, the only thing we need to do is kick back and do nothing. But I don't really want them to win.
There's an entire world of good people, Mr. Blitz. People who can help. You just have to go get them. You just have to ask.
I don't mean to be negative, Chancellor. Unless we're talking about the Vice Chancellor. And when you're feeling better, I really think we should have a conversation about that guy. But where are they? And he, looks around to make the point. All I see is us.
This is admittedly the first time I'm hearing of all of this happening right now, and sure, I don't have people on hand, but you have children. You are my students. You're mine. I only want to keep you safe.
I know, but being a child is not as easy once you've met a body tree and other assorted things.
She looks on the edge of tears. And she turns to Otis. Mr. Otis, you don't have to go. You can stay. I will protect you. We will find more people, good people who will help us to do all of this. It doesn't have to be on your shoulders.
Otis just stares back at her.
You did so good. You protected him when I couldn't. I owe you everything.
Otis just continues to stare at her because, he's processing a lot, so. But he's taking in what she's saying. He's cognizant. Does Nazareth want to say anything, though?
Nope.
I love this movie so much.
Mary. Ardris, I made promises to both of your fathers to protect you. With my students. And I'm very not capable right now, but I will still protect you. We're not asking you to go play child soldier in whatever this apocalypse war is. You can stay.
All due respect, Professor, my path in all this has already been decided. You are unable to refuse when Saint Justinia gives you a direction. However, it appears that I am not strong enough to protect the rest of you. So if you proceed, there is a very good chance one or more of you will not return at the end. Despite what events may have already occurred, you look over at Cullen as he says that. There's no guarantee that they will play out the same way this time.
It's interesting when you say, my path has already been chosen because of Saint Justicia. You can see her kind of very bewildered that you're invoking the saint whose festival day was 3 days ago. 4 days ago now. And she's like, the only path there is in life is the one that we create with every choice that we make, every step that we take. You don't have to do this. You can choose otherwise. I would encourage you to choose otherwise. Let me help.
You're right, Chancellor, and I believe that you will help us in time. But, with all due respect, I'm going to do this. I don't lay that at the feet of my friends and classmates, but my candle's burning at both ends right now.
I understand.
I imagine that you have not been fully brought up to speed in current events. It appears that these events have already played out, or at least a variation of them have played out, perhaps many, many times before. And unfortunately, I am not an expert on time-based abilities or curses or whatever. However, in the cabin, there was a very interesting journal. The journal was cursed, perhaps, or enchanted to make the person who found it believe that it was given to them by someone they trusted. I happen to have found it, and believe it was given to me by a commander under my father, when in reality it was the saint's personal book. I attempted to understand what was in the book, believing it to be nothing more than a puzzle or a game for me to improve my mind. And well, I spoke with the librarian as well. We were unable to fully understand it. However, it appears that the saint bestowed at least a portion of their consciousness, their intelligence in it, in case whatever work they did began to become undone. There are seals to block something. I don't entirely understand it, but those seals are ending. They are failing. According to other sources, they have failed in other times, and in some of them, others, heroes rose, and they failed to succeed. This time, it appears that it is at least some of our responsibilities to prevent it from happening again. So unfortunately, Helen here is mostly correct. Someone has to begin this journey. I do not wish to bring a bunch of children to face whatever is in charge of this, especially after what recently happened. But I, for one, have no choice. And I believe my father helped at least the first time, at least knows about it. So I suppose it is a poetic justice. It is my turn.
She looks like she's kind of like turning this over quite a bit, trying to make it fit with what she knows about the world and how it works, and kind of like what she should expect. And eventually she nods and turns back to Micah. Will you stay?
Well, they kept me safe, so I want to help keep them safe. They did a lot in Ravana, but they got captured, so I can stay safe. I want to help them.
She leans forward and she puts her hand over your chest, over the dragonfire amulet that is hanging around your neck. Wherever you go, I go with you. And you will come back to me.
I will. I promise.
Then I suppose we are waiting for your return here.
Okay.
And they'll give her a huge hug.
Yeah, she gives them a huge hug back. She does not want to stop this hug. And it takes quite a bit to before she's finally able to release them.
All right. We'll be back soon.
And then she goes to Miri and just kind of opens her arms. She's offering a hug.
I mean, she'll hug her. She hasn't had one of those in a while.
She pulls you in tight, and while she's pulled you in, she whispers in your ear. She goes, "I meant it when I said you're one of mine."
I just don't understand why we have to do this.
You shouldn't have to do this. You don't have to do this. You can stay, Miri.
I can't stay here. Not when they're out there.
Then I'll be waiting when you come back. And lets you go. Turns to Kellen. offers.
Like I said, my candle's burning at both ends. If Argus calls for a retreat, I'll be the last one out.
Would you like
Look.
a hug, Mr. Blitz?
And he goes, "Oh, yeah."
She pulls you in for a hug. She keeps it a little bit shorter, I think, because like she's getting vibes off of you that you're not sure if you wanted it either. But
Yeah.
while she has you pulled in, she does whisper in your ear. Thank you.
He whispers to Rosani, trying to keep everyone else from hearing. I'll be last and Michael will be first if we retreat.
And then she lets you go. She turns to Argus next. I don't know if you're really the hugging type, but I offer you one if you want it.
Well, is very well appreciated, but no, thank you.
She is well acquainted with like kind of how elven nobility works, and she gives you a very formal, a very like you can tell this is a very respectful form of address as she like bows you and bows fairly deeply to you, and then calls you by your full title, not just your name.
I will ensure none of your students are harmed to the best of my ability.
You are one of my students, Mr. Logan. Ensure that you are also not harmed.
We will see.
And then she heads over to where Otis is. Give me some vibes for what Otis is giving off right now.
He definitely could use a hug. He's open to it, but he wouldn't initiate one.
She walks over to you and doesn't even offer it. She just wraps her arms around you and pulls you in tightly.
And based on what I rolled privately, interestingly enough, Otis is actually going to start crying.
She like
Kid, he is.
yeah, no. She holds you. She holds you through it and kind of like doesn't say anything for a while because like she knows you're going through it. But when you kind of pull back a little bit, you can see that there are tear tracks also down her face. And she's like, I was very wrong. You've done so well. I'm very proud of you. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry for sneaking into your room.
Honestly, not a great first impression, but it left an impression. And it was worth it to get to know you, Mr. Otis.
And Otis he's going to actually start coming to himself surprisingly quickly after hearing that.
You don't have to go. If you do go, come back. That's all I ask.
And Otis is actually going to say, can't protect myself, but I can protect everybody else.
I can protect everyone else. You hear Nazareth's chime.
And Otis stands up. He's going to go with y'all.
After all of that, like you turn around and Rosani's kind of like wiping at her face a little bit to scrub away the tears. As you get up and move away, you can see like she kind of sags. Like she's clearly used a lot of her energy to get up and do all of this, and she makes her way back to the tree that she'd been leaning against and sits down and says, if you need something, we're right here.
Yep. Michael will grab the dragon heart stone.
This is in here.
That's right. And Lou is going to stand up and come to you, Kellen, and to Mary. Kind of pull both of you to the side. All right, so you're hotshots who can go fight the apocalypse. Well done. You remember everything I taught you?
Mostly.
You've done well to get this far. I'm sure you'll be fine. Just remember, if you need help, you still have it, right? I swear Drogon gave it to you.
That flare?
He pulls it out.
Excellent. Yeah, don't be heroes. I mean, I guess do be heroes, but don't be the kind of heroes that martyr themselves and then, you find them in a cave as a skeleton forever later or whatever.
Mary's gonna you're not being a very encouraging spokesperson right now.
Kellen
It is
just goes,
only because I have the greatest of faith in the both of you.
Kellen just goes, look, Professor, I'm not an idiot. I don't want it. I just know what's required right now. I won't be a fool.
No, you won't. You've never been a fool, Mr. Blitz. A little overambitious, prone to lack of sleep. Absolutely. Not a fool. I'll see you when you get back.
When those guards bust into our room back in the city, I realized why sleep can be important.
Indeed. It's one of those little known secrets that most assassins figure out quite early. Know when the sleep schedules are for the other people, so you can know when your sleep schedule is.
Yeah. For me, yesterday o'clock. And he'll just
I
Drip
feel
off of
that,
it.
and he's just this poor man has not slept in
He
like
just
48 hours.
I
So
put the
he's just
blanket
like,
over.
"Yeah." Anyway, we will be here when you return. I eagerly await it. Hopefully this won't take too long. Goodbye. Or see you later.
One thing first.
Yes.
I'm going to cast a spell on you.
Alright. Turnabout's fair play though.
And he uses Gift of Alacrity. That way, if he does need to react to something, he'll be a little bit faster, even with the lack of sleep.
It's quite nice. Oh, that's interesting. He's kind of just watching that before image that happens with Gift of Alacrity, where right before where he's moving and moving, he's like, well, I mean, honestly, it makes me a little bit more sleepy, but I'm sure it'll be helpful in the event of some unpleasantness.
Yeah.
All right, off with you. I really cannot stand any more goodbyes. We've been doing this for an hour. Bye. He starts to shoo you guys away.
Yes, Kellen basically runs before he changes his mind over to towards the steel.
Before Mary leaves, just says, please try to get some rest, Professor. You're gonna need it probably, considering apocalypse level stuff,
Well, the heroes of the world are going to stop the apocalypse stuff, so I should probably, catch some Z's, relax, chill. It'll be fine.
Okay. Take care, Professor.
Okay, are we all leaving en masse?
Yes. While heading over there, though, I would like to just a quick notion of I'm going to be converting some sorcery points and some spell slots to give you a few level 4 spell slots. So I'm just doing that behind the scene. Of course, vision.
Sorry, I have never played sorcery in my life because it confuses me, so I'm just going to ask it straight out. Can you, you just got out of a long rest, can you convert to more spell slots than you can hold?
Yes. You can convert
Ooh.
you can convert as you can convert as
Understood.
only one I can't convert to yet is level 5 because I haven't unlocked it yet. But once I get level 5, I can convert more than the rest of the list.
Nice. So how many will you have of each slot?
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be converting some of my sorcerer points, as well as breaking down some level 2 slots to give me two additional level 4 spell slots.
Okay. All right. As you make your way past the halved tree, which again is like the half of it is the is smoldering and blackened from flame, the other half is ridiculously green and verdant. There's a small little kind of, well, you call it a rabbit trail here in the woods, but this is all slate and stone. It's just kind of like a very small path that winds in between these big boulders and rocks. And as you climb and fall and go in and around, it's hard to ever see very far in front of you. So anything you wish to do as you move forward?
Can Otis make a perception check for his surroundings?
Yeah.
All right, rolling. So that's
Keep an
Make
eye
it-
out for.
Make it with advantage because Nazareth's helping you.
sweet. Okay. And then I'm adding my D4 to that because of my racial ability.
I would like to keep an eye out for arcane symbology.
First of all, I rolled a nat 20 on that. Thanks to advantage. That is +2 from the D. That's +3 from the D4, and then that is +8 from his.
I'm sorry, that's like 31.
Mm-hmm.
Transcended reality.
He's been high. He just never got high rolls for it.
You look up and you see Zoom. You're like,
One of those 6 boxes up there.
Hey, that's what you get. That's what you get for taking away his sight. He's just like, I hear everything.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, so let's start with all of the good news. Good news number 1, you do not hear or see any Ventrida, so you do not believe that the position you are on, or the position you just left, where Lum and Rizani are, that there's any aerial incoming as far as you can tell. You do not see any recent tracks. It doesn't look like anyone's come through here, and in fact, I will let this retroactively carry to when you stepped out of the sanctuary. You don't see that it looks like anyone stopped by there through the night. You don't see anyone on the horizon, like kind of as you were peeking out, looking around. In this area, it's very difficult to see like forward and backwards, but as you're traveling, it kind of strikes you like to your eyes to walk into this path. It was just a path. It was right there. It's directly in front of you. It's super easy. Why has no one else come down this path? It's right there. Anyone could just like, hook a right at that real strange tree, y'all, and you'll like, but no, it doesn't look like anyone has been here. Then you look around a little bit more and you're like, I don't see any animals either.
Ooh.
It's looking, I mean, it looks natural. You're not getting any like, oh, crazy, like there's necrotic like vibes coming out of like the rock or anything. Like there's nothing there.
Have eyes.
Otis is gonna basically, who would be closer to Otis as we're walking? Because we didn't exactly say walk order if there was one.
It's not so narrow that you can't bunch up. So I think you all are all walking in pretty close proximity unless you want to deliberately spread out.
Well, Otis would probably bring it to Miri's attention and go, something's unusual about this rabbit.
What do you mean?
There ain't no animals. Ain't no birds in the sky. Ain't nothing been through here. It's not right for a forest like this.
I mean, now that you mention it, even in a place like this, there would be also like lizard or something.
And for there to be a path like this and nobody's taking it, that's also unusual.
Mary will like kind of call out to everybody. Can we stop for a second?
I would not suggest it. If we stay here, we will give away the location of the others. Why?
Well, that's...
Otis is actually going to go quiet.
Okay. Oh, I just realized. Player just realized what that was. There's nobody coming down these paths. There's not animals or anything.
Well, do you want me to sneak ahead and see what might be waiting for us?
Sneak ahead.
We can, but I'm starting to get a bad feeling about it now.
Bad feeling. We can sneak ahead.
We're going to the apocalypse seal, so I wasn't really expecting good vibes. But like I said, I can scout ahead if you want.
We all have to move soon, regardless. But if you wish, you may move forward.
Okay. While they're walking, Kellen's going to try to pick up the pace a little bit while casting invisibility on himself and stealth like a little bit ahead of the group through the maze.
Okay, you normally have disadvantage because you are moving fast, but with invisibility that cancels it out. So it'll be a straight roll for stealth.
Okay.
Nazareth is going with you.
Mm-hmm.
Natural 20?
Have you been blessed?
Not quite, but very close.
Oh.
26.
Nice.
Ooh.
All right.
Ooh.
Finally.
Ooh,
Let's
ooh,
go.
ooh, ooh, ooh. All right. Kellen literally disappears, and then figuratively also disappears. You're like, is he just standing there? Did he just go invisible and he's just not moving? Like, there's nothing.
And it's just the light here. He's stupid.
Otis will be like, he's around, Rabbit. He's around. Because, he's got that 31, so.
Yeah, there's a tiny little, like, spritz of dirt, like, right before you round the corner that only Otis notices. Mostly because Nazareth is also moving. So Nazareth rounds this corner up a little bit higher than you as you're moving around. You notice, as you're moving forward, roll me a separate perception check just for you since you're ahead.
Oh, for Kellen, okay.
No.
Because Nazareth can't make a separate one.
Miri, are you also worried about what I'm worried about, which is that I'm about to jack up this perception check after the good stuff?
You've been too cocky, Doug.
Chronal shift.
Yeah, you got too cocky, Doug. You got too cocky.
I knew I'd have to make one roll. I wasn't expecting two. 12.
You didn't charge your dice high enough for 2 good rolls.
Didn't light the candles, didn't do the sacrifice.
That's a 12, so average.
Okay, as you're moving, you do also, like, you're looking around. You don't see any obvious, like, arcane symbols. There's no, like, lit sigils or something, like, lining the path. Doesn't look like anyone's been through here. So, kind of look around. Nazareth's the only animal you see. How much farther forward than the party do you want to go before you stop? I'll say you're getting close to where you, like, when you did that flyover with on the back of Dragon Rosani, like, you kind of saw where this was. You think that you're getting close. Like, your innate keen mindset says we're getting close.
Yeah, I would try to be like a round or two ahead, because basically what Kellen's trying to do is sneak his way out until he can see whatever's waiting for them at the actual ritual site, and then double back and like whisper, like, wait, here's what's waiting for us. That's the goal.
Okay. As you move forward, you lose sight of the rest of the party because of just kind of the way that this, like, winds around.
Yep.
So you lose sight of them, but you think you're not too far ahead. And as you're kind of looking around, you're looking at the dirt. You hear in your head, This is so stupid. You'd think that there would be some competent people who could actually do something instead of sending us. Of course we have to do it. I'm so tired of being around all of these people who don't even know what chrono magic is.
Ah, okay. I'm getting it.
Does it sound like my own voice?
It does.
I
And
know.
again, it's not like, it doesn't sound like it's coming from outside of your body or even inside of your head. Like, it's just kind of there. Like, it doesn't sound like your thoughts. It doesn't sound like someone speaking to you. It just is there. It's like, it sounds like what you would hear if you were speaking out loud to yourself.
Okay. He does not stop. That was a split decision die. He does not stop. He keeps going, but he makes a note of this because it happened about around when he used a chronal shift. So he's getting suspect of that, especially after the box.
Okay. You keep moving forward. It takes you a little bit, and you're like, there has to be more people in this world than just a bunch of kids. Keep moving a little bit forward. And then it's there. It's in front of you. You can see it. Originally, I was only going to give you part of this map, but I think that you're on a little bit of a higher vantage point. You can probably just see all of it. So give me a second to reveal. You're looking down at something that looks like it has been cauterized into the stone. It's kind of a crater-like system, so you're coming kind of up and over it. There's walls around it in a roughly circular kind of fashion, but the inside of it looks like, again, like it's been cauterized into the stone. Parts of it look blackened and charred. Other parts of it look red. You don't know if maybe there's some underground like lava flow here, or is it blood, or what is it? It's red from a distance. Like, that's all you can tell. You see lots and lots of rocks. You also see in the very center, where there's these kind of two concentric circles burned into the stone, there is a very large, it looks like a statue sitting down facing away from you. There are a bunch of statues all over the place, in fact, all of them looking in towards the center.
Okay.
To cast detect magic. Oh wait, never mind, I'm not there.
Ardris from 120 feet away.
I'm not there.
Detect magic.
Shit is there. I'm not there. I'm not there. I got carried
For
away.
the record, I can't do that right now because I'm concentrating on an invisibility spell.
Exactly.
So he. Go ahead.
Sorry. One more second.
Am I still concentrating on an invisibility spell?
You are. I just realized that part of this was hidden, and I did not intend it to be hidden. There were more statues that were hidden. So the statues kind of go around the outside of where these blackened areas are. And then there's all of these lines, like, you can tell, like, you know what magic circles and ritual magic looks like. This is that. All of those different lines, like, they're not just straight lines that are carved in. Some of them are rune lines, or what looks like magical words, sentences, phrases, glyphs, like, that are carved in. You're not close enough to be able to, like, identify which is what or where they're from or anything like that. Oh,
Okay.
and I should mention, there's a large pile of stone. That is also a thing that's there.
So he's going to pause, take it in for a couple of seconds. Probably, I'm guessing, just getting overall ritual design, big pile of stone, a dozen or more statues is like the information I think he gets. And that's what he's going to double back to carry back to the party.
Okay. You head back, and it is a very short amount of time before you see them.
Hey.
None of you see that,
I
so
was
you
gonna
just
say,
hear a hey.
I guess Otis is the nearest person. Mira's gonna grab rabbit. I'm just like, there's a thing.
Would that natural 20 still carry over?
I mean, it's Kellen's voice.
Right.
I think that's what you can get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm saying, like, would Otis be shocked that Kellen has arrived? Like, would he be able to pick up on the trail of him coming back?
I'm gonna say probably not.
That's fair.
You both have been moving for a while. You've been focused on a lot of stuff.
You just go, geez, why?
Ahead, there's ritual magic, a dozen or so odd statues facing a pile of stone. It's up ahead.
Did you have to be sneaky McSneaky up here? I could have screamed.
I don't know what might trigger the statues.
Pull over here, because I could have screamed. But I didn't.
Is this the best magic could do back then? A bunch of statues?
Do we all hear that?
In your own voices.
This is interesting.
Good job, Kellen. You did very good. I believe it is likely that these statues may be some sort of defense mechanism or golem of perhaps. You weren't noticed or nothing happened when you left?
Nope, but I didn't try going into the room. I thought that would fall under the bad idea.
It's possible. Alright, everyone, stay close together. No idea what sort of defense this place may have, but it is imperative that we are not separated.
As everybody's getting closer together, Mary is going to say, "This isn't fair anymore."
Otis would just shrug.
Mike, a third eye opens, and they're going to use one of their 4th level spell slots to cast Summon Fae. To have a Fae next to it.
How fast can the Fae travel? Is it at your speed, slower, faster?
I think it's faster, to be honest. I think they're 40 feet, I think.
Something we can talk about. Each of you makes your way forward, and you reach that same point that Kellen had stopped at, where you can look down and see all of this. It's very clear from the design that this was painstakingly hand wrought. Difficult to tell, like, the exact function, purpose, or design, other than the overall shape. Any questions you want to ask me about the location of things before we move on?
Otis roll perception to see if he recognizes the statues.
Sure.
Or would that be investigation? It's your call.
You are not close enough for investigation, so it'll have to be perception.
I would also.
You were at a distance, so go ahead and make that a disadvantage, please.
I'd also like to do one.
For the statues as well, or?
Yes, but I'm trying to see, because this is something with the statues and it being the magic that's like talking to us. So he wants to see if they kind of look like any of us.
Okay. Go ahead and roll that.
That is a dirty 20 for Otis on perception.
Nice.
I would like to either detect magic or do an arcana check to see if I can tell if the statues are golems or magical constructs or not.
You tell me which one you're doing.
Well, it'd be detect magic if that's allowed based on distance and stuff like that.
I got a 17. Mine.
Okay. I think you're going to do that. Let me resolve the perception checks and then I'll come back to you, Ardris. So, Miri, you're looking at the statues. You're looking at their general shapes to say, hey, do I see a rabbit folk? Do I see a half-orc? And as you're looking at them, no. You don't see any that look like what you would think. I mean, they're all humanoid. They all got 2 legs, 2 arms kind of thing. So, like, maybe there's one in the back that could look like, but you don't see anything that is overtly resembling yourself or the party.
Okay.
Otis, remind me what you were looking at the statues for?
Dirty 20.
Yeah, what were you trying to find out when you were looking at them?
Oh, well, pretty much the same thing as Mary, pretty much just to see like if this is he recognize any races? Do they look familiar? Do they look like they're depicting something?
Most of them look how would I describe that? Kind of grotesque. Like they're statues and the faces are contorted in kind of like anger or fury or fear or terror, or none of them are smiling and happy. All of them have a weapon in hand. All of them are facing inward into the middle. It's interesting because like the closest one, you can get just a little bit better look at it because it's not too far from where you've stopped.
The biggest one?
No, the closest one.
Oh,
So,
closest
like,
one. Okay.
The one that's closest to the path.
Got it.
The makeup of the statue, it's like bone and sinew. It's not like skin and flesh and blood. You know, like it doesn't look like a person. Like this, like someone carved a person. It looks like someone carved a carcass almost. Like just in the way that it's like it's kind of barely there. The weapon that it's holding, you notice, doesn't appear to be a weapon that it's holding. It appears to be an extension that is also made out of carved stone, bone and sinew and tendon and muscle that wraps up into like this really gross looking like kind of hammer cudgel looking thing. Argus, you cast detect magic.
Indeed.
Make a wisdom save, please.
Never learn your lesson. Never.
Do I have advantage on that?
Oh no.
You do have a point of inspiration if you would like to use it.
Does my faintness help me with this? Is it charm? Is it charm effect? I will use a point of inspiration.
Okay.
Wow, that was worse.
I know. I did this in the game I'm a player in last week, and I was so mad.
No.
I'd held on to that inspiration forever and botched it.
Anyway.
So you have to take the new roll with inspiration, right? Or is it just regular advantage?
I say you can take out the roll. That's fine.
All right, so that's a 5 plus a 4, so 9.
9. You take
Oh boy.
Oh no. Argus.
only 2 points of damage as your senses are assaulted with a myriad of different schools of magic. You are surrounded. It is the equivalent of a flashbang to your senses, as everything in front of you is incredibly magical.
Can I try to focus on the statues? Or at least like the closest one, since it's like very bright. Can I just focus on like,
Sure,
tunnel vision on one?
You can. You will take more damage because you are keeping it up. But if you want to keep it up, then yes.
Yeah, that did.
6 more points of damage. It is a combination of necromantic and transmutation magic.
It appears they are necromantic creations. Be very careful and stick together. And then he will get rid of the spell. To be clear, he does stop concentrating on the spell.
Great! Wonderful!
Okay,
Is that the magic
Argus,
with the dead stuff?
It is
You
Argus.
sound-
What are you?
you sound kind of stressed, which is atypical.
As this place is suffused with magic is all. But it was with it.
I just love the idea that just every single time you go to a seal is gonna be like, let me cast detect magic. Exact same damage every time.
You have to know what
You're
you're
3 for
dealing
3. You're 3 for 3 right now.
you have to know what you're dealing with each time.
Fair enough.
With it.
Fair enough. Hey, fair enough. Fair enough. All right, so as you stand on the edge of this crater looking out at this massive construction of some sort of arcane seal, We're gonna pick this up next time because we've read
Uh,
it.
Ooh, wow. Well, this was an awesome session. It's so good to have Rivenwood Academy back. So once again, if you like what you see here, we like to talk about the campaign, definitely join us at our Discord, which you should see in the description section below. We'd love to have you there to talk about the campaign. And we will be back for next Saturday for our next episode 10 of season 2. So until then, farewell for now.